Hey, good evening, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of On the Verge podcast, your truth in podcast and your conservative voice of Southern Oregon. And thank you for joining us. And feel free tonight to ask questions as we go along here. We are a conservative podcast, but we do include everybody. We're not uninclusive, I should say. And again, feel free to like, share, and hang with us. We're touching a lot of people with our podcast, and our intent is to bring Oregon government to the people, and we do that every week, and we're proud to be able to do it. And tonight we have a guest with us that is going to help share that as well. And I'll just go ahead and I'll forego all of my normal speech about how if you don't like us, don't listen to us, and I'll just go ahead and introduce my first guest. And my first guest here is Alek. And Alek, tell everybody who you are and what you do.
My name is Alek Skarlatos. I'm a state representative up in Salem with the Virgil Osborne. He is, what are you, you're District 2?
I'm District 2.
He's District 2, I'm District 4. I have kind of the space in between Roseburg, Grants Pass, and Medford. And it's fantastic, and we have a lot of fun up there, and we just try to hold each other's feet to the fire and make sure we both vote as conservative as possible, even though he pretends to be inclusive.
And you're also the deputy leader.
Oh, yes, and I'm the deputy leader of the House Republicans, yes.
So that's kind of a cool thing because that means that the deputy leader and the Republican Party whip, which is what I do, are both from Douglas County. So we have a lot of say-so in the House of Representatives in Salem, and of course on the Senate side, I think David Brock Smith is the deputy leader over there too. So Douglas County is represented to the highest levels in leadership in both the House and the Senate, which is I think it's really cool. And speaking of Douglas County, Trent, thank you for being the co-host, and introduce yourself if you would, please.
Yeah, Trent Drake. I am the executive chair of Douglas County Republican Central Committee, basically over the Republican Party in Douglas County.
Right on. And longtime campaign manager for me, and
Yep. Oh, that's right. Yeah.
you're kind of my eyes and ears out there in public, and we do a lot of stuff together just to kind of make sure that we're doing the right things that we need to do for the district. So tonight we're going to talk about a few things, and I know a lot of folks are interested in the election that's coming up and the candidates, and that's part of what Alek's job is. He's kind of in his wheelhouse to help out with campaigns as the deputy leader, and we're going to talk a little bit about some of that stuff tonight. But I want to rant a little bit to start with. There's some things that I think need to be brought up, and I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think in our elections, and I saw a lot of it, and I'm still seeing a bunch of it in Douglas County, but just in the state in general, I think it's time we as a Republican Party start working together and get away from the hate and the lies. There's plenty of garbage out there on social media. I read it every day. There's plenty of stuff coming from the left, and there's plenty of stuff coming from the right. And frankly, the stuff coming from the right is stuff that concerns me. I expect it from the left. I expect people, and I guess I don't want to call it the Democrat Party because I have more respect for the Democrat Party than to call them leftists. But I think the people from the left that don't like folks like me or folks like Alek or whoever it may be kind of expect that. But when it comes to our own party, when it comes to the Republican Party, I think it's time to put down our differences and work together. I mean, the battle lines have clearly been drawn, and we are now going into the general election. There's no more primary, folks. And I know I hear a lot of stuff out there. People are still belly aching about, Christine Drazen and wanting to do a write-in. Write-in's not going to work. That doesn't happen in politics. We have one shot, and that is to get Drazen across the finish line. And the only way we're going to do that is if we all work together. And I think it's time we do that. Conversely, down here in Douglas County, we have three really great commissioners right now. They have their pluses and their minuses. I've listened to a lot of stuff online about how people don't like Commissioner Boyce or people don't like Commissioner Freeman. Well, Commissioner Freeman and Commissioner Kress are back in office, and they're doing their job. And Commissioner Boyce never stopped doing his job. But it's time, as a Republican Party, we get behind the people that have the ability to do things for this community. And I will tell you that Commissioner Boyce works closely with all of us. He comes to Salem. Just recently, actually went to Salem for the parole hearing, which surprised me. I didn't know he was actually coming up, but he's very involved in the community. And I don't think that we want radicalism in this community. And I think we need to pay attention to that. And I can tell you, I listened to some podcasts from the other side, from the left side, and they're highly concerned about who's going to end up in the commissioner seat as well. And, they're not talking so bad about Commissioner Boyce right now. So we need to think about the consequences of elections, because elections certainly have consequences. And I think that this has probably been a humbling moment for Commissioner Boyce as well. I think that he's working through, it's never good to not have any adversity. It's always good to have a little bit, keeps you on your toes. Speaking of adversity, I have plenty of it behind me. I get some folks. I mean, just tonight, my chief of staff and I were looking at a comment on social media that was just absolutely ridiculous. It mostly, clearly AI written for the most part, about different things and politics and how MAGA this and MAGA that. Well, you know what? Frankly, I love it when people do that, and Alec, I know you do too, because we laugh about it a lot together.
That's just a good one. I'm gonna start referring to all my opponents as AI.
Yeah, well,
all these hate comments, that's AI. That's not real.
Some of it's just written too well not to be AI, and this particular person, and I'm sure he's watching tonight because he bitches about me all the time, and I'm sure he's looking at it, and I'm glad you are, and if you're watching, I encourage you to just continue doing what you're doing, because here's what I'm going to pledge to do. I'm going to continue to do my job so good that I really don't care what you think. And I don't think most people do care what you think, but you can continue to run your mouth and you can continue to Facebook post or whatever you want. I don't care. It is nice when they go completely over the edge, because then it exposes who they really are.
Right.
And so then people go, well, so anyway.
Hey, I'm gonna take the other side on the argument. I love the hate, because then everyone starts fighting in the comments. Then it boosts the algorithm, so then your post gets more visibility,
Yeah.
and more people see
Yep.
your content.
Young guy.
So all in all, it's a good thing for you. So I wouldn't worry about it too much. I don't mind it at all.
Well,
take all the hate for Virgil and bring it over to my page.
Well, yeah, and I'm certainly not. I'm ranting a little bit, and it's my show, so I get to rant. That's what I do on sometimes on this. And I'll tell you something else. I'm going to make an announcement tonight. Trent knows this already because we've had the discussion, but today I made a phone call to the Secretary of State's office just to confirm where we were at on this. So I have often said that I am not partisan, right? I'm a Republican, I'm conservative, I stand behind conservative principles and values, even though folks from my own side call me rhino, whatever they're going to say. I don't believe in abortion. You heard me say it right here, national news, whatever, I don't care. I don't believe that you should have the right to take away my Second Amendment, period. Don't touch my guns, ever. They're my guns. You don't have the right to touch them. I also I don't believe in taxes when it comes to certain things. There are times when there are taxes that just have to be paid because services have to be had. They are what they are. I don't believe in increasing taxes, and I don't believe in government bloat, and I don't believe in government waste, and I really don't believe in government agencies having the autonomy to make the rules the way they are. Now, all that said, most of my Democrat constituents, I would say, would agree with that, right? I mean, there's going to be some abortion issues that people think that are okay, whatever. That's fine. But I don't know that I've ever been able to find a Democrat friend or associate that says that they're okay with paying more taxes, except some nut jobs that are on Facebook that, like the ones we were just referring to. I don't think even Democrats are fiscally conservative in Douglas County, right? I also think that that for the most part, at least the Democrats that I know, they all shoot guns, right? And I don't think they want their Second Amendment rights taken away, and for that matter, they don't want their First Amendment rights taken away. And the Second Amendment protects your First Amendment, and I think most of them would agree with that. So that said, when we had the election this time around, and this is going to be strange news, but I'm glad I'm able to share it with everybody. We had I didn't have a Republican opponent. I didn't have a Democrat opponent. And when I asked some of the local Democrats why we didn't, why they didn't run anybody against me, and Alec, you didn't either, I don't think, but they said, well, they don't mind working with me because I listen to them, and I do. And in fact, myself and my chief of staff just attended a meeting about homelessness. Actually, I don't think you went to that one, but we about local homelessness and a solution. I've had people complain that I don't do anything about homelessness. Well, I do, and I am working in the background on it regularly, and I have a lot of ideas. Just because you're not with me 24/7 doesn't mean that I'm not working on something you don't know. So in that meeting, I was probably the only Republican in the room, but I'm also concerned, and I want to find a solution. So here's what happened. Last week, I was informed that the Democrat write-in ballots, where they had 133 write-ins or whatever against me on the Democrat ballot, Democrat tickets. I was curious if there was a way to find out who the write-in was because I was surprised that many people didn't like me, right? Well, it was interesting. What I found out was 50 of them were Mickey Mouse, Donald Duck, and they didn't count. They were invalid. The other 50 were for me. And those were Democrats that wrote me in as their candidate. I didn't ask for it. I didn't talk to anybody about it. They just did it. Um, then there was a miscellaneous, some people got 10 votes, 5 votes, 12 votes, whatever. So that, the list kind of went on. So in speaking with Secretary of State's office, I officially could, if I decide to take it, I could take the Democrat nomination for Douglas County as well. Now, why do I bring it up? Because it makes me feel pretty damn good. It makes me feel like people understand that I am listening to both sides.
Right.
I don't bend my principles. And I'm telling everybody this now because if I do decide to take it, I want everybody to understand. I'm not a Democrat at heart. I'm a Republican at heart, but I'm also fiscally conservative and I care about everybody in this community. And I really don't care if you're a Democrat or Republican. I still care about you. Now, if you hate me, that's your decision and that's okay because not everybody loves everybody. So, so that's something that I was kind of proud of. And it's something that's coming up. And now that I've ranted for the first 11 minutes, Alec, give me your 2 cents on that issue. You must have an opinion on it.
I do.
And I'm probably not going to like it.
I think that Democrats not running someone against you because they like working with you is fantastic. But Democrats didn't run someone against me because they're scared. They're scared to run against me. That's why. Anyway, no, that's my 2 cents. I mean, it's kind of cool being that well liked, and it's politically maybe a little worrisome because then whoever runs against you in the future, say in Republican primary, is going to say Virgil Osborne was endorsed by, I don't know, Douglas County Democrat Party or whoever that would be.
Oh, I don't think they're going to endorse me.
Or the Democrats. You know what I mean? You get their party's nomination.
Yeah.
He was nominated by the Democrat Party for this job as representative or whatever you run for in the future. So politically, it would hurt you probably in the long term. But in the short term, I mean, yeah, it is pretty cool being that popular in Douglas County. I mean, you got to think of everything politically when you're a representative, unfortunately. And even though that might be the more egalitarian thing to do, it probably will hurt you long term. But thanks to all the Democrats that voted for Virgil Osborne. He's a great guy.
I want to rebuke that a little bit.
Yeah.
So because I got more road miles.
Hey, you're the party chair.
That's right.
If the Democrats like Virgil Osborne so much, they should talk to you and sign up and be a Republican.
It is. And remember, history was my minor in college. One of the things that's important, when Virgil and I first started this campaign, we understood one thing because of our age. My influence was from Ronald Reagan, and Ronald Reagan had a seat for everybody at the table and would listen. And he said, and I quote, he goes, everybody has a seat at the table. Now, whether we agree on such subjects is a different matter. And a guy in that room, and I was 18 years old, and I stood there, and he goes, well, you can't teach an old dog new tricks. And I will tell you what Ronald Reagan turned around this fast and said, well, you can't teach a dead dog nothing. Okay. Basically shutting the guy down, going, no one party should have ultimate power. And Oregon has proved it for 39 freaking years that one party rule doesn't work. You have to have a balance. And I think one of the things that we strove from the beginning was to have balance in our campaign with our friends, because where we grew up here in Douglas County, if you worked at RFP, chances are back in the day, like my grandparents, you were Democrats.
Yeah.
Okay. That's just where that came from. And going back to Ronald Reagan, one of his closest confidants and friends was Tip O'Neill, Speaker of the House, Democrat.
Yeah.
But it gives you that understanding. You don't have to agree. That's where civility comes in.
Well, and I think, Trent, you attended a meeting with me. It's been a couple of years ago now, but we met with the LGBTQ group here locally. And, I walked in the room and I said, and I clearly stated my position on exactly how I feel.
This right here is a perfect opportunity to bump up the algorithm. People in the comments watching this, tell us who you agree with.
Yeah. So no, what I did was I said, here's my stance, right? You do what you want. I mean, as far as I don't control your sexual preference. That's up to you. But I do not agree with men and women's sports.
Right.
And I also don't agree with, period, and end of subject. I do not agree with special privileges to people because they're minorities, myself included. And I said that up front. I said everything else we can work with. And I think that coming into that meeting with, I don't know, it must have been 20 people in the room. I think coming into that meeting, people went, "Oh, okay, this guy is not untouchable." I just there, live and let live. As long as you're not hurting me, as long as you're not hurting other people, and you're not breaking the law, live and let live. Same thing with marijuana. I mean, I'm not a fan of marijuana. I could probably disagree with the state passing marijuana laws that we passed, but now we're taxing the holy hell out of marijuana, and we're creating our own problems with the way we're handling it. But it is a legitimate business.
Right.
So I've toured marijuana farms. I've toured marijuana manufacturing facilities and it's like some of the awesome people that I've talked to. I mean, Alec, I think you've been to some of them as well. And how do you say, well, I don't like you because you're a legitimate business? You can't do that.
Yeah.
I think the argument you're making is conflating liberties with the Democrat Party. And I think you can be pro marijuana from, say, a libertarian perspective without necessarily being pro Democrat.
Sure.
And I think you can kind of take both sides on that. But I just think that personally, if the Democrat Party wanted to give me their nomination, I probably would say, I appreciate it and I appreciate all the support, and I would love for you guys to vote for me and support me in whatever way you think you want to, because you like me and I'm a good representative. However, everything that your party stands for, I don't necessarily want behind my name because of some of the fringe beliefs like transgender rights and
Yeah.
transing kids and all those things. And I don't mean to like take the worst parts of the Democrat Party and label every Democrat as that.
Well, I honestly don't think most Democrats in Douglas County
Yeah.
are far left leaning.
I think that's probably correct,
I just don't.
but all the same, I just don't want that label. I mean, personally, I'd rather have like the Constitution Party or the Libertarian Party.
I've had the
You
I've
got
had the
that too.
Constitution Party.
I mean, yeah, no, I just think that it just kind of hurts you to put a label on your support.
Yeah.
You can be a Republican and just be, again, a kind of a populist Republican that gets support from across the board and create your own brand as Virgil Osborne. But again, I just don't see the label as really helping you at all.
Well, we'll see where it goes. I haven't made any decisions on it yet, but
Again, in the comments, tell Virgil Osborne what you should do. He's undecided.
So
Quick.
I was really proud to say that, not everybody hates me. In fact, I probably have more hate coming from the right than I do from the left, and I'm very hard. Alec, you know this as well as most people. I am one of the top 3 conservative voters in the whole state, and that's not going to change. So, at the end of the day, it's how you vote that matters.
Yeah, I tell people that all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
everyone asks me like, "Oh, do you think this person's qualified to be a state representative, or do you think they do a good job, or do you think they have the life experience?" And I always tell them the only thing that matters is their voting record.
That's right.
You want to know if your representative is good at his job?
Yeah.
Don't look at how much money he made in business. Don't look at
No.
what he does in his free time. Look at his voting record on the House floor, because that is the only thing that actually matters. That is our job, period.
And I defend my voting record.
And you have a great voting record,
at all
almost
costs.
as good as mine.
Yeah, whatever.
I dare say.
I've been there just a little longer than you. Okay, so there's a question here from Kevin, and it says, "Could you ask Alec if he will be on board with legislation we are proposing, specifically the loaded no bail for child molesters?" So I've got. I don't know that Alec has seen my legislation yet, but I've got 5 pieces, I think, of legislation coming up that are addressing child molesters, online child predators. I mean, that's kind of a big deal. That we've got some great police here locally that make it that's their mission to take these guys off the street. So
Yeah, no, I'd be on board with that. Absolutely.
yeah,
I think, again, just send it to me, let me know about it. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sure I'd support it if I could
Yeah.
look at the legislation.
yeah, we
Sounds
just started writing the legislation literally like a week and a half ago. So it has
For that specifically?
That's one of them.
Oh, yeah. Well, also, for the greater audience, we are coming up on our long session. So we are drafting ideas for bills right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
I've got about 12, I think, that I want to bring. But if you have any ideas for a piece of legislation that you think that should be law, or a law that you'd like repealed, probably more likely, talk to one of us about it and send us your ideas so we can at least give it a shot. Might not go anywhere in the state of Oregon, but you'd be surprised what we can get away with if it's
Yeah.
niche and specific enough.
Yeah.
Knock on wood, like K trucks.
Yeah, we have, yeah, right, K trucks, and
That's-
and anyway. So on that note, a lot of what I've been doing lately is attending either online or in person work groups. So I have a whole work group meeting today, actually, on Next Gen, which is a group that's considering legislation, which I'll probably support, that allows transmission lines for electricity to come down highways and state right of ways, and it kind of helps take it off the shoulders of people that are, farmers and ranchers. Instead of going across their land, it gives them another alternative, which I think is a great idea. It's sad to say it was a Democrat idea, not mine, but it was. I'm supporting it. We'll see where it goes. My message to them was, we have a great opportunity here to do something good for the state. Don't screw it up. I can't say that I've seen them do well with it yet. There's been some things I've disagreed with, but myself and Senator Brock Smith now are both on the committee, so we're going to help steer it. There was about 30 people on the call today, so it's pretty big committee. Also, we have a OHV ATV bill that Representative Kate started. It's been handed off to me. She lost her primary, so she won't be there during long session. And I've been on work group with ODOT and user groups and Oregon Parks and Rec, some of the sheriff's departments, trying to figure that whole thing out. And that could be a really good thing for rural Oregon. Unfortunately, Association of Oregon Counties are not supporting it right now, and which kind of surprised me. That was in yesterday's work group, and they want to keep status quo. And my comment to them, I wasn't super nice, and I probably should be nicer, but it really, frankly, pissed me off. And I said, so what you're saying is the Association of Oregon Counties, which is 36 counties, you're telling me that the majority of your members are opposed to having OHVs on state highways. And they're like, well, we don't want the extra work to have our road managers go out and mark highways and decide which roads they could. And I said, okay, so you're telling me that the majority of the counties, 26 of them being rural, don't want the road managers to decide what roads should or should not be. I said, I frankly think that they should do their damn jobs.
Yeah, all I heard was they're too lazy to give people their rights.
Yeah, that's exactly right.
Yeah.
And then I went on to say, because I was a little pissed off, I said, so what you're telling me, what I'm hearing is, of those 36 counties, 26 of them are probably going to be on board, of which ours certainly would be on board. But the other ones, Multnomah County, Clackamas County, Washington County, how much credibility are you giving them in this decision? Because those aren't the places where we need this. We need this where farmers and ranchers live. We need people to be able to legally get in their side by side and ride to their ranch, which they technically can do right now under certain conditions, but there's no reason not to.
Well, and if you've been to the east side of Beaverton, Washington County, it's all farmland.
Well, and if you go to the east side of the state, Lake County,
Or I'm sorry, the west side of Beaverton, the
yeah.
east side of the other. Yeah.
you go to Lake County, Malheur County, all those counties have passed ordinances that the counties are allowing OHV use on the highway.
Yeah.
And it's not a bunch of dirt bikes ripping down the road. It's side by sides. It costs more than cars these days. And I for them not to support it and actually come out against it, we're going to have a lot more discussion before the session,
Right.
about it. But hopefully we can get those guys on board. Uh,
The other thing too, that there's plenty of states on the West Coast that have implemented that successfully.
oh yeah, there's a whole list of them.
Utah,
Arizona,
Colorado,
yeah.
Arizona, and really, my cousin lives in Prescott.
Yeah.
And you see that down there,
Yeah.
even outside of Phoenix.
It just makes sense.
Yeah.
And there's a whole argument as to how it makes sense. There's very little argument as to why it don't make sense. And all of the very little argument I hear, a lot of it doesn't center around safety concerns,
Right.
because realistically, safety is not really the issue. It centers around dollars. And the state, ODOT doesn't want to spend any money, which my comment to ODOT is, well, good, stay out of it. Just let us do our job. You don't need to do anything. There's already registration for OHVs now. It doesn't need to change. And they're like, well, we need to have turn signals and all this other stuff. I said, no, you don't. Brake light, okay. You don't have to have turn signals. You can do hand signals. and so ODOT wants to make an argument, but again, they don't want to do their work.
Right.
Most side by sides have brake lights anyway.
They do, yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
And,
and that
and you
just
can buy
gets
kits for turn signals.
that just gets into departments creating bureaucracy
Yes.
and rules that they shouldn't be creating.
Yeah. Well, and unfortunately, there's a lot of political pull in ODOT, right? I
Right.
mean, they're a government-ran agency which reports to our governor, who is arguably one of the worst governors in the nation right now, if not the worst. Anyway, I want to talk about elections tonight. We have Alek here with us, and that's kind of his wheelhouse. So I don't know if you want to spend a little time talking about where we're at. In the
Yeah.
House and the Senate. I probably should have asked you to come prepared with some sheets, but I didn't. So
No, I don't have any sheets, but off the top of my head, all of our competitive races, we got good candidates out of the primary. The Javity seat, which is probably our number one priority, we got a guy named Max Sherman. That was like a really competitive three-way race. We didn't really know who was going to come out of it. But Max Sherman seems like a good candidate, and so with how close that registration is, and how bad, frankly, Cyrus Javity's voting record is. I mean, he literally campaigned for the gas tax that just went down 85 to 15.
Yeah.
So as long as we can accurately paint him as responsible for that, he should go down 85 to 15 if we've done our job right.
Right.
So that's going to be our number one priority. We got Scott Heggie replacing Jeff Helfrich, who's a Republican. That'll be a really tough defend for us since Helfrich barely would squeak by his election.
that's up in Hood River. the
Yeah,
Gorge.
that's the
Yeah.
Gorge area. Beyond that, we've got a couple competitive seats outside of Salem. We got a competitive seat in Springfield that might be a sleeper race for us.
John Lively seat.
Yeah, only because Lively's retiring and it's an open seat. That's a huge opportunity for us. I ran for Congress in the Springfield area. I know the voting breakdown. David Lovell, even though he just lost his reelection, he was able to win Springfield to get elected to that county commission seat. It's almost identical to the House seat. So that's really competitive for us with no John Lively. Once we get a Democrat incumbent, it probably won't be very winnable for us. So it's kind of one of those seats that if we're going to win it, we have to win it now. This is like our only opportunity. So it kind of has risen, I guess, in importance just for that reason alone. And then again, like the Andrew Morrison, Noemi Gillespie, I think is her last name.
Mm-hmm.
She's running outside of Salem. We've got probably 5 or 6 seats that are all good opportunities for us, and we only need 2 to get out of the superminority. So if we can defend Helfrich's seat with Scott Heggie, pick up Javity's, and just pick off 1, that would be enough for us. And so opportunities across the board. The real question is, what kind of an election year is it going to be for us? And that's kind of the bigger picture, because it's a midterm of a Trump presidency, which doesn't usually bode well for us. But on the other hand, we just had the gas tax, which all these Democrats voted for, that just went down 85-15, which is like almost unimaginable. I've never seen something go down that bad, especially when the majority party passed it and forced all their members to vote
Yeah.
for it.
And they did.
And
Every
they
single one
did.
of them,
And it's
yeah.
an 85-15 issue for us. So even though it's not going to be on the ballot in November, we can use that to paint all the Democrats with that broad brush. And of course, we have IP28, which I don't know what the ballot measure number is going to be. I don't know if you do.
I was told today that it made the numbers, but
It did. It's
yeah.
gonna have a ballot number, but right now it's IP28. But when that gets on the ballot as well, that will be on the ballot for November.
Right.
I can't imagine that's gonna pass, but we need all of our farmers and ranchers and hunters to come out and vote against that.
Well,
Because
we need people to get off their ass and go to the and
yeah, or else you're not gonna be able
So
to hunt or fish or anything.
Wasn't it Javity's vote is what propelled the gas tax forward, right?
Yeah, and
yeah.
The
I'm
one
pretty
vote.
sure strategically how they did it was Javity knew he wanted to switch parties,
Yeah.
but the Democrats were like, no, just stay a Republican long enough to vote for this so we can say it's bipartisan.
Right.
And then after he voted for it, I think it was like the next day or the day after, he switched parties.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he always kind of was a Democrat, wolf in sheep's clothing.
Yeah.
But again, the voters up in that Tillamook area have a chance to correct the record this November. So please show up and vote.
I it's just not my nature to talk bad about people in general. I try
I'll
not
do
to
it.
do that.
I volunteer.
Yeah, well, I try not to do that, especially politically. Um, even my Democrat colleagues, I don't say a lot of bad things. You know, personally, their decisions they make, I don't like. I think our governor has made some really bad decisions, and I don't have much problem saying that. And I will say this: so I was just recently at the firefighter memorial here last week in Salem for fallen firefighters, and it was very touching. We had three firefighters that were memorialized, one of them being from here, Rick Merlino. Rick, yeah, Rick, right?
Yeah.
Rick Merlino.
No, Mike.
Mike Merlino, that's
Rick's younger brother.
right. Yeah, was one of our local firefighters that was memorialized, and it was an amazing event. The bagpipes and governor spoke, as well as several representatives from the fire services, so to speak, and it was very touching. And I did talk to the governor afterwards, and I told her she did a nice job, and she did. I mean, what she said was good and touching, and I think was appropriate. Um, Unfortunately, all three of them died from cancer over the years, and most of it, I mean, if not all of it, was related to their breathing apparatus and some of their equipment. And I think that we have an opportunity to fix that. And the governor brought that up, and she's been governor now for 4 years, and she hasn't fixed it yet, and neither is her party. So,
Right.
I will say it's time to get off your ass and fix it and make it happen. But there's a lot of things that I could say that about our governor. I don't want to slight the memorial though, because it was a beautiful memorial. And okay, so a couple other things. I had a visit from the lobbyist from Asante, which is the health organization down in Yonkers neck of the woods, Grants Pass, Medford. And if you've been following them, what they recently they've laid off 400, I think, employees, and they're about ready to lay off another 400 potentially because of frankly, the state's decisions, and insurance companies are bailing. Insurance companies aren't paying out the amount that they're able to bill. I mean, healthcare in Oregon is a hot mess, and I think the state would like it to go single payer, Obamacare style. And anyway, it's not working. State's not holding up their end of the bargain either. They sent a letter, and I asked for a copy of it. And I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's pretty intense. But this letter is signed by, and it's in opposition to the government's Prosperity Council, because the governor's Prosperity Council, because she's doing such a piss poor job, frankly, with the Prosperity Council, and they're causing all kinds of issues with what these guys are saying is you're only helping the wealthy, and you're not supporting the working class families, and it's showing, and we're losing jobs, we're losing everything over it. And interesting enough, this is signed by the Thousand Friends of Oregon. Right off the bat, there's Climate Solutions, there's Friends of Family Farmers, Human Services Coalition of Oregon, several different unions. And then on the flip side, it's signed by more unions, as well as several state representatives from the Democrat Party. So, including Jeff Golden, who is a senator, and Leslie Munoz, state representative, Farah Shaichi, and the list goes on. What this letter tells me is that the Democrat Party is not happy with their own governor. And certainly they're not happy with the way the state's going, but, frankly,
In the wrong direction.
it's going in the wrong direction. And the decisions that are being made are from the people that signed this letter.
Yep.
Well,
And
the funny thing too is that people don't realize this, but the Democrat Socialists of America, they're winning Democrat primaries in this last primary cycle. The Democrat Party of Oregon is going farther to the left. Just because they've tanked the state doesn't mean that they're lightening up on any of their policies. They're trying to make it worse.
Doubling down.
And we need to show up and vote and change that, because, I mean, Oregon is such a low population state. It wouldn't take a lot of actual money and effort to flip this and make us a swing state like they did to Florida, like they did to Montana. I mean, all these states used to be swing states, and now they're conservative bastions. I mean, we could do that the easiest in Oregon of almost any Democrat state. We just need the ground game. We need Republicans to stop leaving Oregon, and we need all the Republicans leaving places like California and Washington. Instead of going to Idaho and Tennessee, they need to move to Oregon and help us flip this thing, because It's too beautiful just to give to the Democrats and
Well,
let them trash it like they have.
That's right.
If you could afford to live here,
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
you
the
know,
cost of living, our place in education, healthcare. I mean, there's so across the board. It's like we're at the bottom of almost every list, or at least in the
well,
bottom 10 of almost every list.
speaking of that,
Yeah, here we go.
I just happen to have that list right here. So since you segued into it, this is just from notes from legislative days. So in Oregon, we are we are in the bottom 10 in business. We're 47th in business friendliness out of 50, compared to we were 26th in 2015. Um, those are just facts, guys. I mean, and I'll tell you, there's folks that are on my haters list that are Democrats. One in particular I can think of that tonight I would like to tell them where to go. Um, your party did this. My party didn't do it. We haven't been in control for 40 years. So we've had some better moments, but we are not the ones
Yeah.
that put the state where it's at. And that's your party, sir, is why we're 47th in business friendliness.
Which
Yeah.
which gets me to a point
Yeah.
in my profession, which is insurance. One of the problems in Oregon is considered by most big corporate insurance companies the hardest state in the nation to do business. It's harder to bring a new company into Oregon than it is to New York or California.
Oh yeah, that's on my list.
Yep.
So cost of doing business, we're 43rd, which
Oof.
puts us at the bottom almost at 50. We're 49th in corporate tax ranks. In other words, we're almost the highest corporate tax. I don't even know probably New York is probably worse, but we're right there.
I think California.
Maybe California. Yeah. 46 in regulatory freedom out of the 50 states. In other words, the regulations in the state have such strict control of the state that we can't do anything, which just plays right into the fact that we have a homeless issue because we can't build houses because we have too many regulations to build houses. We have too many regulations to do business. I'm on my stump again, and I know I'm complaining, but I gotta get these numbers out there because people need to understand. And I'm going to go into some of the wasteful spending that's been done too. We are, let's see, occupational licensing. We are first and the most expensive in the state for occupational licensing, which would probably play into some of what you do.
Mm-hmm.
Cost of living, we're 41st in the nation. At cost of living, that puts us near the bottom. 42nd in housing cost rank. Let's see, that was rank in 2025. 42nd. Grocery costs, we're 46th. And that's going up the ladder. So that means we're four from the worst, not in a good way.
Right.
46 in transportation costs. Legislative, this is a good one. Legislative lackluster. We're 50th in a CI public safety rank. 50th out of 50th.
Is that us?
Yeah, that's us.
Oh man,
Yeah.
we got to really do better jobs.
41st in economy ranking. Let's see, where else? 8th in state and local revenue per capita rank.
Melinda wants you to post the list, she says.
Post the list. I could probably do that. Not right now, but I probably could do that. Education, 9th in teacher salary ranks. So we're almost at the highest in paying teachers, even though
We're worse than education.
yeah.
All of our money's going to the teachers, not to the students. That's cool.
We're 46th in reading rank grade. So we're almost at the bottom. 48th in math rank grade, even closer to the bottom, and 46th in educational competitiveness. And I will argue that the only reason we're not lower than that is because the Democrats, and yes, sir, that's your party, they changed the goalpost.
Well, and think about this too. A lot of those states that are worse than us have a significantly higher immigrant population that doesn't know English and therefore can't participate well in school.
Yeah.
And that's why their numbers are so low. We don't even have that problem, or at least not as bad as a lot of other states. So ours is probably, artificially high. We probably really are at the very bottom.
We're probably close to the bottom. Here's one that's very concerning. We're 36th in manufacturing.
I'm surprised we're that high, frankly.
Well, yeah, but to put a exclamation point on this, we dropped from 7th in 2018. In 2018, we were 7th in the country for manufacturing. Now we're 36th. That just tells you right there, business is dying.
Well, part of a lot of that is the cat tax. I mean,
yeah,
taxing businesses on their gross receipts. I mean, even if you hate corporations and want to tax them, taxing gross receipts is insane because again, you're hurting really the small businesses, the people that produce,
Yeah.
high gross, low net, like farmers and ranchers and timber operators and people like that. It's
Well,
insane.
we're 36th in the best state to start a business. And that source was Wallet Hub in 2015. 2015, that's not that many years ago, 10 years ago. Oregon ranked 12th. Now we're 36th. So if you see the decline, the Republicans haven't been in control. We haven't even had anywhere near 50-50 since like 2005.
Yep.
So
It was, yeah, and even then it was only for like one session.
yeah.
And they still had the governor and I think the Senate and everybody else.
So in 2015 we were ranked 12th. We've dropped 24 points in the last 10 years. And our state budget has almost doubled in 10 years. If it hasn't doubled, we're 138 billion.
Yeah, I think it's tripled since 2005.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure.
And again, I have people all the time that are just pissed off because they say that we sit here and blame the Democrats. I'm not trying to blame the Democrats. I'm just telling you the facts. You can
I'll blame
make
the
your own
Democrats.
decisions.
They're the ones that have been
Well,
in power.
Well,
We have bills to fix
you
all
can-
this
you
every year, and they go nowhere.
every
We
year
have
they-
common sense bills. I had a bill last session that would only cooperate with ICE in the cases of murder and like rape.
Yeah.
And the Democrats didn't let that bill pass or go anywhere. I mean,
It-
these are the most common sense
yeah.
populist bills, and they're not even getting a hearing.
Well, then the thing is you don't have to be a Republican to understand the state's not going in the right direction.
Right.
Well, I think that's a great point, though, because if you look at this last primary, you had, I think, a lot of like vote splitting, and I think we're going to see more of that in the general election.
Yeah.
When, again, the gas tax, which was a Democrat priority, went down 85%.
Yeah.
People who don't like Donald Trump can still see that Tina Kotek is terrible for the state of Oregon.
Donald Trump
You
doesn't
know.
have hardly anything to do with the Oregon's condition. We were already going down this
Well,
rabbit
that's
hole
exactly,
long
but I mean, that's
before he was
exactly my
elected.
point, though, is people can see that now. And I think voters, I mean, 20, 30 years ago, you probably never saw people just talking politics
Yeah.
casually in the street, or not every person you asked had an opinion on politics. Now everyone does. For better or for worse, people are attempting at least to get more politically informed.
Yeah.
And I think
Well,
because of
that's-
that, you're going to
that's-
see more split voting. You've got Democrats who will support Virgil Osborne. However, they might not support President Trump, or they might not support
Well,
whomever.
And the intent of this whole podcast is to sit here and tell the truth. And anybody can argue with me if they want, but I got the facts. I'm not making this stuff up. And I mean, we haven't been in control, and we have had many, many bills. Like Alek's not wrong. We have every session we produce bills that will fix this, and every single bill gets shot down.
And we're on the farther right edge of our party, I think. And a lot of the Republicans that we have in the state legislature are just like business people that want a little sanity. They're not even that involved in like the
Right.
culture war issues, so to speak. They just want a place where they can raise their kids without threat of violence. They want a place where their kids can get a good education.
Yeah.
I mean, like, they're very regular people who they want the life that we had 20 years ago in the United States. And again, I think people can see that, and they see
Right.
that Oregon Republicans are significantly more closer to the middle than Oregon Democrats.
I would agree, and we're moving. The Democrat Party's moving clearly in the socialist direction. I want to go on through some more numbers here. 39th in cost of living. I think it's 39th now, and I don't have what it used to be, but I think that's dropped about 10 or 12 points as well. Education, 20th per student ranking. Oregon spends $18,381 per student per year. I know other states spend half that. And we got a lot of education numbers here, but I think everybody knows we're pretty much at the bottom on education. Yeah, and it goes on. There's more of this stuff here. Prosperity Council discussion. Frankly, the governor put together the Prosperity Council for one reason, and that is because she needed to campaign because the state's such a hot mess. And frankly, she has catered to the people that help make it a hot mess, and that would be the unions and some of the other special interest groups, and that's where we are.
So she has this council and she's not even listening to
She's
them.
not
And
listening.
we know a couple of the guys that are on the council, which are sharp
Yeah,
businessmen
yeah.
and very, very successful. And they feel a little shut out. It's almost like, what's the point?
Well, and I sometimes feel like they were only asked to be on it because they wanted to be able to include somebody from Douglas County or rural
Right.
Oregon. And I'm glad they're there. And I mean, Toby Luther being one of them, I'm glad he's on the council because I think it's important that they hear his voice. And frankly, from what I understand, most of the council agrees with him.
Right.
The governor doesn't care. She just does whatever she wants
Right.
to do. And God help us if we get 4 more years.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how the state survives. Now, all these numbers that I'm talking about, that doesn't even take into consideration, and I've warned everybody about this. I've talked about it. I'm going to continue to preach it. Environmental legislation. It's coming, guys. Unfortunately, John Lively is retiring, and he is the chair. He's a fairly moderate Democrat, and he's the chair of the Climate, Energy, and Environment Committee. Not the co-chair, but the deputy chair, whatever, is Mark Gamba, who is an environmental Nazi, and there's a good chance that he's going to end up being the chair. If that happens, you're all going to not be driving at all because the only thing that's going to be available is electric cars, and we don't have electricity to put in. But that's okay because he's pushing a transmission authority, which will give them eminent domain rights to bring electricity from the windmills in Eastern Oregon across your farmland and across your personal property with eminent domain. You won't have a choice to bring it over here to the west side and plug in green energy. So, I mean, guys, there's a lot of stuff coming that's not good stuff. And I hate to sit here and preach doom
Yeah.
and gloom.
Even though we don't have an electric truck that can go 1,000 miles hauling a standard load.
This is the guy who presented the bill to make every apartment complex built to have charging stations in like
Right.
all of their, or at least 50% of their parking lot. I'm like, we don't have electric cars in
I thought we had a
Douglas County.
housing cost issue in the state.
Yeah, it raised
Well, yeah.
it raised the price of building those apartments $50,000 a door, but he didn't agree with that, and yeah, so we've argued quite a bit. So, thank God we have some good Republicans that are holding the line to the best of our ability. But I tell you, it's not easy, and we need everybody's support, and that means everybody on the Republican Party, even the ones that don't always agree with everything, or whatever. We need you guys to come to our help here. I mean, this is a battle, and I'm up for it. Alex, up
Yeah,
for it.
I love fights and primaries. I love competing as to who's the best Republican because I typically win. But I don't mind the infighting when it's primary season, but primary season's over. If you guys want to look forward to that, we'll start it up again probably in 18 months, but primary season's over. We're on to the general election, and now you have a binary choice. I mean, in a state where we're disadvantaged by registration, sitting on your hands is basically a default vote for the Democrats.
See,
If you're unhappy in this state, you need to show up and vote Republican. I mean, even if you don't even like the Republicans, if you're unhappy with the state, at least scaring the Democrats into some sense of moderation would go a long way.
Yeah. Well, and I don't like, I mean, primaries suck in general, right? But I don't mind an even fight. If somebody voted bad and they're arguing that, whatever. The part I don't like about primaries, especially here, is how nasty they get. And the lies start happening. You got this nut job that, does the WinchesterDam.com thing. Everything the guy posts is lies. But he's literally has this huge following of people that listen and read that crap.
He's got some pretty good names, though.
Oh yeah, he's got
Those
some great
insult
nicknames.
names.
I mean, for all of us
Beijing
except
Brock
you,
Smith.
but yeah, and it's all BS. I mean, the whole thing about Brock Smith.
If
and
he's
the
watching,
commissioners-
I want him to come up with a name for me.
Well,
I know it's gonna be
the
good.
the thing is, it's like, don't believe that crap. And if you do, go and talk. I mean, if somebody has a problem with something I've done, then come and talk to me. I'll talk to anybody. But instead, a lot of people read that stuff, and now we've got some of our what so-called good Republicans that are actually they're propagating his crap. They're sending it out because they're using it against our sitting Republicans, myself included. And it's like, anyway, I don't want to give that guy any air because I think the guy's a nut job. But I will say this much: all the crap that gets posted that he writes, he uses aliases for it. and Hildy Johnson and Mike Lee. It's all aliases for the same guy. It's not. I mean, we're not dumb, right?
Right.
Anyway, so whatever.
Well, and it gets back. It you guys can only do so much.
Yeah.
The rest of it's up to us and everybody that's watching. You need to get. You want something done. You need to help us.
Yeah.
You need to pick up the phone, call your friends. Call your friends in Eastern Oregon because that's a very low turnout area.
Yeah.
322,000 Republicans didn't vote in the last gubernatorial election.
Sidelines. Yeah.
Okay. If only 150,000 of those vote, let's just say half, we'll win something. And it will stop a lot of, if Christine Drazen won the last election, which she lost by 66,000 votes, we would not be having this conversation.
Right.
Some people go, oh, bull. Trust me, I spent enough time with Christine to know that we would not be here.
Yeah. Well, and we need all Republicans to get on board.
Yeah.
I want to acknowledge our sponsors, but I think I'm going to do it at the end this time.
Okay.
That way people remember, but we're not quite there yet. I want to talk about a post that I did on social media. So in committees, well, I wouldn't say, yeah, I guess they were committees, but we had the part of legislative days is agencies come to us and report what they've done in the interim and how they've handled some of the laws that we passed. And something that was literally brought to my attention that just I just couldn't believe it, and I think we're going to try to run a little bit of legislation to hopefully fix the problem. But okay, Oregon Liquor Control Commission, who also oversees marijuana.
Are you talking about is this the art one?
Yes.
Who brought that to your attention, Virgil?
Yeah, you did.
Who asked that question in committee?
Yeah, but
who is that
who
sage?
But who told you?
Representative?
Who told you to ask the question? Your chief.
My chief of staff.
Right.
Yeah, that's okay.
So we're in committee, and they're
Who
going.
I employ.
Yeah,
that's my choice.
They're going through their kind of their list of money spent, and it came up that they purchased, and I knew this has been going on for a few years, but they purchased some property outside of Canby, literally I think on the city limits, edge of town, which was probably farmland. So they purchased it because they needed to build a bigger facility for OLCC because they're expecting people to drink more, and they've got a lot of new products that are coming online. Some of these canned products that are mixed drinks that are coming out in cans. They needed more space for the warehouse. I get all that, right? Oregon has a drinking issue. I don't think that's a secret.
I can't hit my mouth.
Yeah,
oh, not that kind. No, I'm
right,
sorry.
We're pretty good at it. But here's what I didn't know. I didn't know they spent $147 million to build a 347,000 square foot facility. 147 million. And they paved the parking lot at least, right? This is a box, right? This is just a big warehouse. And I don't have a clue what they paid for the property, but my guess is it was way overpaid for the property. And again, an agency that we don't have control over the agency. They do what they want. So that was spent. Somebody asked a question, how much money was spent, or maybe they just presented it on the building itself, the actual construction. 89 million of the 147 million was spent on the building. Then they came out with some facts that just like I left the room so mad. I didn't even know what to say, so I posted about it, and I have a lot of questions. They went through some of the details of the building. $890,000 was spent on an art wall. 890,000 because it's 1% of whatever the construction cost was for the building. Now, this is not a building that's open to the public. This is a building that has approximately 100 employees, state employees, and all they do is shuffle.
And keep in mind, it's a warehouse.
It's a warehouse.
$800,000 on art in a warehouse.
In a warehouse that the public will never see.
Yeah, it's just for the employees on their break room to look at.
That's exactly
It's in the
right.
employee break room period, and like a statue at the entrance. That's it.
Yeah.
Nuts.
And I'm sitting here going, in my mind, I'm thinking, I either need to become an artist or I need to write some legislation. I don't know. But $890,000 on a piece of artwork was just, I just couldn't get there. Then I find out from actually one of my friends here, Cindy Mincer, Pincher, whatever her last name is, I can't think. She actually pulled up legislation for me, and it was passed in 1975.
Yeah, it's 1% of all state projects construction budget, which also, to your point earlier, 140 some odd million with an 80 some odd million construction budget.
Yeah.
Like, how much did they pay for the property? 'Cause that's
Well,
a pretty
yeah.
huge gap.
Well, the next time we get them in committee, I want to know.
Yeah.
But on top of all that, um, I I had people when I posted it, I had people say, "Well, hey, you need to remember that," or no, some smart ass said, "Well, you need to get your facts straight before you post something like that because you're not right. This OLCC actually pays their own way." I'm like, then I really lost it because OLCC absolutely does. They are not an agency that runs in the black in the red. They are an agency that is I wouldn't say they're flush with money, but they have money. Where the hell do you think they got the money? They tax liquor and they tax marijuana. It's taxes that pay that, and you can color it any way you want. They can take it out of general funds, which I think some of that money did come out of general funds on a bond that has to be paid back. But nothing in Oregon happens without taxes, right? I mean, that's how it's paid for. And so whoever that guy was, and I don't know who it was, but whoever it was that said I need to get my facts straight, oh, I got them straight. You need to get your facts straight because I might know a little bit more about this than some folks. I'm a little pissed tonight about it, but here's why I'm mad. Last week, I had a meeting with some local folks here about a homeless shelter potential, tiny home city, so to speak. And they had some really great ideas. And Eugene's doing this, and Grants Pass is doing it. And I thought that's really great. They asked for $1 million, and my first reply to that was that $1 million isn't enough to really get the job done. And they're like, well, they've got this funding and that funding. I can't give our local homeless shelters $1 million because we're spending on artwork in a freaking OLCC building. And that's just one example of wasteful government spending. And it goes on and on and on. We spent $10 million on the James Baird flea market in Portland last year. We gave $10 million to that private entity to build that flea market. I don't know if it ever got built. The last I heard, they were 30 million in the hole.
And $10 million, to put it in perspective, would fund almost every project you or I could come up with for our entire districts.
Yeah.
And this was just for one project in downtown Portland, in Portland proper, that has a ton of money in city taxes that they get to maintain the city. And then we're sending state dollars there instead of the places that actually need it. I mean, it's disgusting. It's just Democrat priorities always get front loaded.
There are solutions to homelessness. There are ways to fix it. And it starts with the state, to be honest with you. I mean, I know our commissioners take a lot of heat for it, our cities take a lot of heat for it, but it starts at the state. State level has to do things. We need to back off on our building codes. We need to allow houses to be built. We need to make it simpler and easier to build houses because guess what? Inventory lowers prices. When you can't even find a house to rent, you know what I mean? And then the rents go up. We need to work with common sense things to get a solution to homelessness. And then there's mental health care, which we're about to lose in Mercy because the state's not funding it as well. We can collect taxes, but we have trouble putting the money where it needs to go. And again, that's not my party. We know what needs to happen to fix some of this. Accountability is probably the number one thing that would fix a lot of our state issues. We got to quit being soft on crime. We got to start paying attention to the things that matter and quit paying attention to the crap that doesn't matter.
Hey, I just heard that your district, Roseburg City Council, voted to become a sanctuary city.
So you want to talk about that?
Let's talk about it, bro. That's your district. My district would never do that.
Well, yeah, your district starts in Riddle, so you're probably right. So let's talk about the vote that Roseburg City Council took, and I have talked to at least 4 councilors from Roseburg City Council. The vote to become a sanctuary city was pretty much a straw vote, right? It didn't matter. We're a sanctuary state, so which there's 2 sides to the coin to taking that vote. Number one, if you are conservative, you should have never voted yes on it. Like there's no reason to because it was going to pass. There's only like 2 conservative people on the council, maybe. When I asked both of those folks why they voted yes, it was because of the pressure they're getting, because of the pressure of the citizens. They got a dozen people that are coming in. Frankly, I don't know if a dozen of them even live in Roseburg, but they have special interests. And one of them in particular, she told me that it was a friend of hers, and they want this. They don't want ICE. They don't want this. They don't want that. And they're putting the pressure on it. I'm like, you know how much pressure I get to take votes all the time?
This is politics.
That's what politics is all about. So ultimately, that vote didn't mean anything, except it now confirmed that everybody on the council agreed with it, right? So good luck in your elections. Probably going to get used against you. It should. It would get used against me if I took a yes vote on that. I would never vote for that. But I don't know.
I know tons. I mean, I know some of the Roseburg city councilors. They're great people, but again, like we talked about earlier, at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is your voting record,
Yeah,
and you have to represent your constituents. That's what the job is.
yeah,
If you got elected as a Republican, it's probably because more Republicans voted for you than Democrats.
yeah.
That's who you need to represent. That's what the job is. But
Well,
anyway,
and you know what? Like I said, shame on the mayor because he sets the agenda. Why that
yeah.
ever got to the floor, I have no idea. If I was the mayor, I'd be like,
I just had people bringing that up to me, and I'm like,
oh yeah, my phone blew up.
I was just like, oh, you're probably mistaken. This is Roseburg. That would never happen.
No, I
And
watched
then
it.
I, texted my chief of staff, Elias, who is very in tune to city politics, and he was like, oh, nope, this is what happened, blah, blah, blah. Sent me the article and everything. And I'm like, wow, I
Yeah.
just never would have thought. I mean, get involved. I mean, we have some Democrat city council seats that I know are flippable. So if you guys are watching this and you live in Roseburg city limits, find what district you live in or ward or whatever they call it and get involved.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the consequences of sitting on your hands and not getting involved.
Or if you like the direction your city's going, then keep voting the way you're voting.
Yep.
You know, I was just, it kind of made me sick when I heard it. Well, interestingly enough, I had a conversation with one of the city councilors probably a week or so afterwards, and he asked me the question. He says, "Well, I don't." He says, "How do you do it? How do you take all the heat, and all the all the bad talk and all the stuff behind your back after you take a vote?" He goes, "I'm considering not even being on council or stuff." And I said, "Let me tell you," I said, "Number one, never, ever, ever, ever make a decision on emotion. Should never do that. Stop, think about it, make the decision on what's best for your district or your city or your ward or whatever it is. Number two, do your job so well that it doesn't matter what people say behind your back. It just doesn't matter. If you're doing the job you should be doing, let them talk. Frankly, that's what I like about my critics. It's like, if you see me not doing something that I should be doing, tell me.
I mean, we get people testifying in committee who give us a million reasons to vote against our district. They'll give us sob stories,
Yeah.
all sorts of emotional stories that pull at your heartstrings, and it's at the end of the day, that's not, again, not what the job is. You have to think about not the person in front of you who's probably from downtown Portland testifying in front of your committee. You have to think of your people back home.
Yeah.
Like, I don't care what people in downtown Portland think of me. I don't care what people in Salem think of me. I don't care what anybody thinks of me other than my voters in my district. I care about what my neighbors think of me. I care about what my family thinks of me. That's the people that you need to have at the forefront of your mind when you're taking these votes. You need to have some, I don't want to say have a spine, but you need to have a conscience of what you're actually there to do, and you need to do the job to the best of your ability and not get swayed because you're not going to I'm not going to vote for gun control because someone's daughter got killed by gang violence in downtown Portland. Because downtown Portland has a law enforcement problem, not because you need to take away my gun rights. I mean, you have to put all this stuff into perspective, and if you don't know what you believe in and why you believe it, and you don't have your principles in order, that's why you can be swayed to take a bad vote. And I think it all just starts with who you are as a person, understanding why you're there, and who sent you there. Anyway, that's my rant for the night.
No, I agree, and I think that's the difference between the majority of the Republicans in the House and probably the Senate too, over the majority of Democrats. I frankly just feel like Democrats tend to vote with their emotions. I mean, they're sold on ideas, and they're also right now. I think there's the Democrat Party in Oregon is really struggling with the unions and some of the organizations that are trying to turn them more left. The Democrat Socialist Party, they're winning seats. I mean, they beat Janine Solomon.
Well, that's the interesting thing about being a Democrat in Oregon. It's like you're owned by someone, and that's kind of the interesting thing. Republicans aren't, because frankly, we're not powerful enough for people to try to own us. But the Democrats are owned by either the unions or the DSA, and if one of those got you elected, that's who you need to appease, and if you don't, they're going to primary you.
Yeah.
And there's constant fighting between the unions and the DSA, and
Yeah.
the Democrat incumbents have lost their primary because of those fights. And again, it's just pushing the whole party farther and farther to the left. So
Well, there are some good ones though that managed well. Daniel,
Yes.
he managed to win his primary, and that's what happened.
Yeah.
They primaried him.
yeah, exactly. But again,
That was
even
sad.
even if he wins his primary, A, he might lose the next one, and B, he still has to spend a ton of money and fight hard just to get reelected as a
Right.
slightly, I say this generously, slightly moderate Democrat.
Yeah.
I mean, it's insane what they're doing to the Democrats in Oregon, and it's just going to make the choice that much more binary in November. You can vote for these DSA candidates, or you can vote for a moderate Republican who, God forbid, might have said something nice about Donald Trump once.
So I want to make a real quick comment to Linda West that commented on here. Conflicts of interest or reasons for dismissal. What happened to the Ethics Commission? I can tell you what happened to the Ethics Commission. The Ethics Commission is ran by the Democrats. Remember, we're in a state that they control all the agencies and all the commissions, and you will never find Democrats don't get charged. I mean, Shamia Fagan should have been in jail. She didn't go to jail. She really hardly even got a slap on the hand. And that's the problem with one party rule when they've been in rule so long that they've taken over the courts. The
courts is the big one. And when you've been in power for 40 years, every single judge has been appointed by a Democrat.
By a Democrat, yeah. So it's really tough. Listen, we're getting a little bit over our time. I want to talk about a couple things I did this weekend. I want to give props out to Blackberry Festival guys. They had a keyhole race, which is it's a pretty awesome mud drag race. I didn't do that great in it, but I got to be real creative with the way I drove. It was kind of fun. I just want to shout out to those guys. Blackberry Festival. It's not the Blackberry Festival, but it's the same group that put it on. And Sutherland just is doing some things really good. I mean, they're doing it right. And Blackberry Festival is one of those things. The Sutherland Throwdown's coming up as well. They've got their music venue that's happening up there. I just want to give props to Sutherland and everybody involved. Also, the Sasquatch Festival, Gina was on here last week talking about it, but we went to the dinner. An amazing time.
It was fun.
They raised $300,000 in one evening. $300,000 in donations from businesses and individuals. I want to give a shout out to the Trincheros, who were one of the biggest donors of the night, and they typically always are. It's people like that to get back to the community financially. The community we need that.
And what's really cool, I thought too, is the Strader Ranch.
Yeah.
Donates the property for them to use.
Yeah. No charge.
No charge.
Yeah.
I mean, that's such a great thing.
And that supports Glide Revitalization, who,
right.
I had a constituent come into my shop here 2 weeks ago, and he said, and he didn't even know I had any idea about what Glide Revitalization was. And he started talking about how this agency or this revitalization place in Glide came in and helped him with the cleanup of the flood and wrote him a check and everything. He didn't even expect help. I'm like, yeah, I'm familiar with that. That's pretty good stuff. So, anyway, what Glide Revitalization does is amazing. We need more of that in our community, and Gina, frankly, is just amazing that she puts up a lot of crap, but she does a very good job. Also, Trent, you got something coming up?
We do. We got the 250th celebration of the country, our Republican barbecue, this Saturday.
Are there any seats left?
Not really.
No,
No, we're pretty much sold out. Yeah.
What's the speaking list? If someone wants to attend, who do they expect to see speak there?
Well, it's a $1,000 donation to the host.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm cheap. I'm, you're married with a kid now. That's gonna be cheap.
Well, I think I made the short list, so I'll be the anchor speaker. We do have some good speakers I know coming up for that. So.
We do, and it's going to be built around unity of the party. I mean, we've been talking about it a lot, but it's just going to be a chance to come together. I've got some thoughts put together. Got a little story about the flag that we're going to talk about, and we've got a really cool flag procession. It's going to be done by
veterans or something.
Josh Frazier.
Yep, I saw Josh today. I got a haircut.
Yep. So, which is going to be fun. And we got Shira Goebel going to sing the national anthem, which is amazing.
Yeah.
She's really something. I really appreciate her doing that. So
That's cool.
Yeah.
I'll definitely be there. Also, we have let's see, we've got some sponsors that we need to acknowledge.
Well,
And
thank you for the gift basket for that.
oh yeah,
Tell Jen we need some more Pendleton.
some more Pendleton. Yeah, that was out of state Pendleton. I want to acknowledge one of our major sponsors, because she's been with us for now almost the entire time we've been putting on the show. But that's Becky Holmes Insurance, Medicare, Marketplace, Cancer, and Hospitality Indemnity. She never charges for her services. She can interpret the language of insurance, which is very true. And if you're going to be traveling, see Becky for your travel insurance, short-term medical, and trip insurance. Call Becky at 541-900-6001. That's 541-900-6001. She's been a great supporter of this podcast and will continue. I'm also going to talk a little bit about Looking Glass Brewery, and they are still a sponsor of ours. You can see their sign up in the background
I
here.
thought you were a sponsor of theirs. How often I see you there.
Yeah, well, you gotta reciprocate.
Yeah.
You gotta spend money.
And July 25th, we're going to have a meet and greet with you guys.
Yep.
It's on your calendar.
Oh,
You
okay.
good?
July 25th.
July 25th.
All right.
At
and
Looking Glass Brewery.
Looking Glass Brewery.
I'll be
and
there, I
we're
guess.
Hopefully, it looks like we're going to have Court and a few others, and we're trying to get Christine Drazen to show up.
Yep.
So, but come down, meet these guys, shake their hand, ask good questions.
You can ask questions. You can visit with us. I'll talk to anybody. I think everybody
Yeah.
knows that. I think most of our representatives will. David Brocksmith, I think, is going to be there.
Yep.
I think as well. Our senator, who's also running for Merkley's position on a federal level. But Looking Glass Brewery has just been a great supporter. I honestly think they are the anchor business in Winston. If it hasn't, if it wasn't for Mark and Lydia and all the efforts and dollars that they've spent in that community, Winston would really be struggling for those type of services. And
Yeah.
plus their beer's pretty darn good too.
Beer's pretty darn good. Yeah.
Well, some of the best in the state, if not. I'm gonna say that it is the best in the state. And if you haven't had a hug from Bubba,
That's right.
you need to go see Bubba. 'Cause
That's right.
Bubba's the beer maker.
My
now.
shoulder's just recuperating.
Yeah, great folks. We also have Andrea Williams, Advocare. She's still a great sponsor. You can look her up online for sure. Chris Boyce, our county commissioner, is another major sponsor here, as well as David Brocksmith, and we are happy to have them on board. All of our commissioners have been supportive, so is David as well. And Bob Murray is still a supporter as well.
Yes, sir. Bob Murray Trucking. Matter of fact, he's got another check for us when he gets back.
Cool.
He is also our head table sponsor at this weekend's event.
Oh, right on.
Nice.
So, and it was really cool. He came to me, he goes, "Hey, I want to be a head sponsor, and what's it cost?" I said, "Throw me a number," and he did, and I was like, "Okay." And yeah, I mean, it was generous too. It was very generous.
That's
And
really
him and
cool.
Kimmy are just like that. They're just very generous. They want to help, and they participate. Okay, like his signs for Ed were all over his trucks all over the state. He engages on social media, and it's fun to watch. I mean, he handles those guys pretty darn good.
Bob's a great guy.
Yeah.
And again, I'm going to just give him props again. He has been helping us with Champagne Creek Ranch as well, our nonprofit. He brought in some of his equipment and did a bunch of work for us. And again, if you're not familiar with Champagne Creek Ranch, we do a lot of service work up there, police, fire, search and rescue. We also have rattlesnake training for dogs that we put on up there once a year. DPSST now is adopted Champagne Creek Ranch as their training grounds for any Type 6 engine drivers or staff in the entire state. So if you live in far eastern Oregon and you're planning on doing wildfire fighting in a Type 6 engine, you're probably going to come to Champagne Creek Ranch for your training. It doesn't matter what part of the state you're from. We also do kids ATV licensing. We do that up there. We train them 4 or 5 times a year. And then a bunch of other organizations that we host. We don't charge. So I know there's been some people that are like, well, you guys are making money. We really don't charge. We're a nonprofit. The only time we make any money is just from our events, and the money's used to support our organization to keep things. Let me tell you, there's a lot of work to keep that ranch in usable condition, and Bob's been a big part of that. So
Yes, he has.
We really appreciate that. That's all I've got for tonight. Alek, I always let the guests close on anything you'd like to bring up.
Oh man, I thought it was a really fun primary election night. I know it's been a while ago now, but a lot of the elections were close, dynamic, interesting candidates. I mean, even Ed Deal did incredibly well for the amount of money that he had going into the election. I hope he stays involved. I know he's not technically going to be a representative anymore, but maybe he'll run for the state senator, governor again in the future. So I hope he stays involved. But yeah, it was just a lot of fun in the primaries. We got a lot of great candidates. Looking forward to the general. And thanks so much for having me, Virgil, on your show.
Thanks for coming back. We'll have you back again if you want to come back.
All
I
right.
know it's a long drive, but no, we appreciate you. Trent, you got anything you want to close with?
No, I was really enjoying the comments tonight on YouTube. A very active group out there. We've got a lot of things coming up, as far as what we can do as citizens. And, exercise your right. If you don't like mail by vote, hand carry it to the courthouse. That's what I do.
Yeah.
Take it down there by hand. If you want to get together and have a party and go celebrate afterwards, call us. We'll go. Alek will buy the first round. And, but encourage your friends to vote against the current regime.
Yeah.
They talk about all this no kings. What about no queens?
Yeah.
The no tax referendum, that bill was shoved down your throat. It made these guys have to go to work when they didn't have to.
Yeah.
And it was ridiculous. And same on a couple other things. It's like, people, make it so big it can't fail. I love that. I'm gonna get something made for that.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, I mean, Trump won that election. That's exactly what they ran on.
Yeah.
It's like, make it so you can't lose.
Yeah.
Well, thank everybody for joining us tonight. Again, we're your conservative podcast of Southern Oregon, the Conservative Voice. We appreciate all the following. We're on 13 or so different, I always forget the word, but different platforms, I guess you'd call it.
That's the word.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, several different, YouTube as well. Follow us, and please, share with your friends.
Right.
We're touching over 1 million people with this podcast. Believe it or not, it's been an amazing ride. We had no idea it was going to be this successful, but we're happy to continue to bring the truth in politics and really the reality of what's going on in Oregon politics right to you with no middleman.
I almost forgot to give a big aloha to a couple of our Hawaiian friends that were watching tonight that I saw too.
Nice.
I contacted the Republicans of Hawaii.
Good deal.
And we've been going back and forth, and it's just been awesome, man. I just really feel that aloha spirit from them, and they're the next Oregon. They're going to flip just like we are.
Yeah. No, it's amazing. And we're just going to keep getting stronger, and we're also going to keep telling the truth.
Right.
And our intent of this podcast is to educate people on how government works and be very transparent while we do it. And that's never going to change. So thank you all for watching tonight, and have a great rest of your week. And I think we'll see you next week. As far as I know, I think that's the next scheduled time. So have a great night.